Hey guys, I am starting this series of tutorials off with the most natural, more daytime wearable one. All of these looks were started using the Smashbox lid primer in the shade Light. For this first look, I'm starting with the shade Sauced and a fluffy crease brush and running that through my crease using windshield wiper motions. This is one of my favorite go-to shades to start a look with because it's just super easy to blend and build up in the crease. Moving a shade lighter down to Chaser, I'm using that exact same brush and just using this as an all-over lid shade, taking it from my lash line up to where I just put that crease shade. Now it's time to start adding some depth. I'm doing that with a smaller, more precise, but still fluffy brush and the shade Cayenne. I'm applying that combination of tapping and blending in my outer corner, stopping right at the outer third of my eye, but then kind of pulling it out and blending it up towards the end of my eyebrow. Then I'm moving back into Sauced, the same shade that I used in my crease, and I'm using that to blend out that outer corner and help blend it into that lighter lid shade Chaser that I just applied. And that's it for the eyes. Super simple this time around. I just added a couple coats of mascara and then went in with a lipstick. This is from the Naked Heat capsule collection in the shade Fuel. And that's it for the look. I am wearing the same products on the rest of my face, like blush, bronzer, foundation. All that stuff will be listed down below, but it's the same across each look, so I figure we can just glaze over that. Next up is actually kind of a series of looks, starting with something, I wouldn't call it daytime, but it's least dramatic of all of them, and then I'm showing you how you can do subtle tweaks to amp up the drama and interest. So first I'm starting with the shade Chaser in my crease, running that, again, using windshield wiper motions through my crease just to create that best friend blending situation up in there. Next, I'm going into Cayenne and applying that to both my inner and outer corner to start the makings of what will ultimately be a spotlight or halo eye that you see on the right, or my left eye. Once that pigment is built up in the inner and outer corner, I'll then start pulling it into my crease to connect the two, but I make sure to not add any new product to my brush just because then it can get a little intense in the crease and that spotlight effect can get dulled a little bit. So I just make sure to use the existing product on my eye and whatever might be left on the brush and then intensify it from there. And after that, I'm going in with a smaller, more precise brush and applying that same shade Cayenne to my lower lash line. Next, I just make sure my crease is good and blended by going back in with Chaser, that first shade I laid down, and running it through the crease a little bit more. And then to really make that spotlight pop, I'm going in with the shade Ounce and patting that in the center of my lid and blending it out towards those deeper colors in either corner and my crease. Once I have a few coats of mascara on, I go in with lipstick, and this is from that same Naked Heat capsule collection, but in the shade Heat. It's the gorgeous red base with the metallic gold shift. Amazing complement to the red in the Cayenne shade in this look. So this is the most subtle version of this look, but as sometimes happens, you look at your makeup for long enough and you think, but could it be more and different? So I wanted to give it a try. I went in with the shade Ashes, which is this gorgeous deep purpley plum in here, and a super small detailed brush, and applied that to just the very outer corner and the very inner corner to intensify that spotlight look and give it a little bit more depth with that added color. I pulled that purple shade slightly into the crease, so I did go back into Chaser just to make sure it was all blended out. There were no harsh lines or anything, but that is your more dramatic purple update to this look. And then the last iteration has a fun, funky pop of color using one of the 24/7 Glide On eye pencils from this Heat collection in the shade Torch, and I just run that along my upper lash line. I thought the matte orange against that plum would provide some great contrast, and I really ended up liking the way it turned out. And that is finally it for that progression of looks. Moving on to the final look, which is somewhat more dramatic with a cut crease. I'm first starting once again with my favorite Sauce shade and a fluffy blending brush and running that through my crease. Next, I went into He Devil and ran that in the outer half of my crease, really focusing on my outer corner, but making sure it was blended pretty evenly throughout. The idea here is to create a solid foundation for a gradient, but I do periodically go back in with that shade Chaser, which is a good shade just to make sure everything is blended. There are no harsh edges. But now back to that gradient. So I'm going in with ashes and applying that to the very outermost point of my outer corner, and then I go to the next shade over, which is in Fuego, and a slightly more berry shade, and I use that to blend ashes out into that orange, hence the gradient we were going after. Now on to the cut part of this cut crease. I'm applying some more of that primer from Smashbox, the lid primer, but this time in the shade white, just to my lid, and then I'm using a brush. This is actually from another Naked palette, but it's just any flat shader brush that you can get a good, clean, crisp edge on, and I'm using that to not only apply that and cover my lid, but also really carve out that crease. You can see even this brush is not quite sharp enough to cut that crease, but you just need something with a nice, clean edge, maybe a flat concealer brush, something like that, because you're also going to use it to create a nice cut wing and help define that outer corner over there. Then once that was set and in place, I went in with the shade Lumber and a somewhat fluffier but still flat shader brush to pack on that color. Started in my inner corner and towards my lash line, but worked my way up, making sure to leave a little spot blank in the actual crease area. Then I went into a slightly deeper but similar looking shade called Dirty Talk and applied that to the outer half of my lid. This is also the shade that I take on an angled brush to apply to my lower lash line, just to create some nice symmetry between my upper and lower lash line / lid. Then to help really define that cut crease, I'm going in with the L'Oreal Infallible Paints eyeliner in the shade White Party and running that through not only my crease, but then also along the wing to help make that bolder and pop against the colors on the rest of my eye. This is a little dry though, so you can see it skipping. If I had it to do over again, I might use a creamier gel liner like I have one from Inglot, but really any creamy eye product you have will work best here. I also thought this look needed a little bit of definition along the lash line, so I went in with a brown liquid liner. This is from Hard Candy, and I use that to not only line my upper lash line, but also extend that line as a wing and kind of mirror or parallel the existing white definition that I already have right there. Then the last few steps of this look are just to extend that color that I have in the outer half of my lid up to my wing. There's a lot going on in this little space, so I just used this tiny little detailer brush to extend that, and I wanted to make sure that there were 3 separate or distinct lines here: the brown that I have on my upper lash line, the shade on my lid, and then the white there as well. If you get overwhelmed or you place a color where you didn't mean for it to be placed, just remember you can always go in with some eye makeup remover and a Q-tip and just selectively wipe away what you want. And finally, after some mascara, I am finishing the look up with that same lipstick shade that I used in the very first look. It is Fuel, and that completes this look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing all these looks in one. Let me know what you think or which one's your favorite in the comments below. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys!